I think when we think about the future clinical trials for patients with Waldenström's, I think I can separate the studies in two different branches. And one of them is what we call targeted agents, and the other one is immunotherapy. So I'm going to talk about targeted agents first, because we have been using targeted agents for Waldenström for the last 10 years with the BTK inhibitors and the BCL2 antagonists. So I think there's a new generation of BTK inhibitors coming up. We call them non-covalent BTK inhibitors, and we have a couple of products there, pirtobrutinib and nemtabrutinib, showing really important data. I think pirtobrutinib is a little bit more advanced than nemtabrutinib in that setting, but presenting already very significant data that was presented at ASH last year by Dr. Palomba from Sloan Kettering. And that is prompting a number of different clinical trials combining now pirtobrutinib with other agents for patients with Waldenström's. We do have a new generation of BCL2 inhibitors as well, the new one from called sonrotoclax, and other BCL2 inhibitors from other companies. They're going to be developing in clinical trials in patients with Waldenström's, initially alone, but also at some point my sense is in combination is where this is going to be much more effective. And then we have other pathways that we have described recently that will be affected by new agents. We have the MALT1 inhibitors, we have the IRAK4 inhibitors, and now, we know BTK is a very important driver of the behavior of these malignant cells. So there's a new family of medications called BTK degraders, in which we're very excited about as well, and clinical trials are just starting with these new agents in CLL as well as Waldenström's and other conditions that are driven by BTK. Now, when we think about immunotherapy, right, I think there have been three branches very well delineated, and one of them is antibody-drug conjugates, and we have a number of clinical trials with Waldenström running. There's one study that my colleague Dr. Saroshik is running at Dana-Farber with loncastuximab. My colleague Dr. von Keudel from the Beth Israel Deaconess in Boston is also thinking about running a study with epcoritamab, which is a bispecific antibody. And there's a program, with a protocol MB106, which is a CAR T-cell program targeting CD20 in patients with Waldenström's. There is also a phospholipid drug conjugate, PDC, called iopofosine, that is also in clinical trials and advancing very well. So we have those big branches. I think it begs the idea that at some point in the future, maybe we can actually combine, as it's been done in other conditions, combining the targeted agents as well as immunotherapies. And I think if we do that, we could potentially get to a point in which we can induce deeper responses, hopefully more durable responses with less toxicity, with therapies that do not need to be indefinite.